Abarera, Legos, Ram, Ori, Banish, C10, Demonio, Dinaja, 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 Abarera, Legos, Ram, Abarera Nikos Ram Ori Banish C10 Demonio Dinaja 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 Abarera Nikos Ram Ori Banish C10 Demonio.
Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Apocrypha. Again, I don't know if it's the #1 occult podcast on YouTube, but I do believe
Yes,
it is
it
the
is.
only one. Yes, it is.
It is the only one.
number
It's the only
Yes.
Apocrypha. The #1 Apocrypha.
Yeah, the #1
show.
Apocrypha podcast. Because we're the only Apocrypha podcast out there. So, yes. So, got a little bit of an interesting discussion to kind of start out on tonight, but after the reading, because you guys didn't get a tarot reading last week because, well, Mystic wasn't among the living, but he has been resurrected. He does have a cough.
Partially.
Yeah, he does have a cough, so if you're wearing headphones, turn them down.
Yeah, I get into a fit every once in a while, but
So that's a thing. And tonight I decided to do a little, I think it's called, no, a Lemmy is rum and coke, isn't it? That's a Lemmy.
I have no fucking clue. It's a rum and coke. According to my ex, it's a Roman coke.
A rum and coke?
What's in a Roman
I know
coke?
that one of those fucking drinks, I don't know if it was like bourbon and coke or rum and coke, they named it after Lemmy from fucking Motor Grader. Like that was like his drink of choice. Yeah, I can't remember which one it was. This is a whiskey and coke. I'm not going crazy, just one glass. I went down to the kitchen and wanted something to drink, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a glass of whiskey.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm having Solomon Island Kava.
Solomon Island.
It makes your throat numb.
Well, I guess that could be good for multiple reasons for you, now wouldn't, couldn't it?
Yes, but I'm going to say it's good for one reason right now. Because his throat hurts. But I'm sure it could help with that.
Oh, shit.
All right.
I'm having a la weed and quitting again. All right, Seti, Well, I mean,
Hey, look, I had my few puffs before we came out tonight, so I'm on the couch with you.
there
I'm
we
gonna be
go.
funning into the couch,
There
into
we
the
go.
couch. All right, are we ready for tarot? By the way, I bought a new book, History of Tarot, to utilize in developing the class even further. So it's going to be pretty intense class, I think. Um, Tonight I'm using my personal deck, the one that I use the most right now. It is beat the hell up. Doesn't look like it, but it is beat up pretty bad. So this is the Steampunk Tarot.
The steampunk.
Steampunk by Barbara. There's more than one. There's I think a Christopher Hughes one, and then there's Barbara Moore. And I'm using the Barbara Moore Ali Fell version. I don't know what it is about it. I just really, really love it. And it is one of those, hey, it is one of those decks that speaks to me. Sorry for the random Tourette's, y'all.
The
Um,
random Tourette's.
Random Tourette's because our people be walking by.
Oh, it's great.
Um,
That's-
but this deck is one that is really close to me. I use it a lot. It speaks very easily to me. It's one of those that it's spirited with me, and I rather enjoy it. So our first three cards, I'm going to start with the Three of Wands. This Three of Wands is very visually clear about what they're doing. So you've got this gentleman on one side with lots of light, and he's lining up the scope. He's surveying. He's making sure things are set up. So if you've got something going on with difficulties at work, it's because you're not surveying the land enough. You're not surveying the situation and making sure that you're doing the measure twice, cut once, right? Make sure that you've got things in place the way it needs to be first before you make any significant cuts. Because we're trying to move something maybe along a little too far without actually processing and surveying the land and seeing what it looks like how close are the shores? Can the boat really fit between the banks? How much traffic is coming through here? What's the grade of the land? Is it too high, too low? So we've got to check all these things and really put the effort in first to get where we need to go. So that's first. Our next one is a Nine of Cups, but she's inverted. I'm going to show you two right side up. I don't always read inversions, but I always read them on my personal deck. This is a Nine of Cups, so you can see what it is upright. We've got a bartender here with 9 cups, and she's definitely talking about abundance. This is that moment of celebration right before the happy family walks off into the sunset. But we're inverted. So what does that mean? That means we have all the abundance offered to us right in front of us, but for some reason we can't see it, or we're looking for something so specific, and we're not willing to punch down a little bit and say, you know what, this is good enough. It's actually really good, and I can do this the way it is. I don't need that perfect thing that I was looking for. I've got everything right here. We've got enough, 9 drinks, all the drinks we need. We're covered. We're happy. We're enjoying this moment of reflection. Only we're not, because it's inverted, right? We're having difficulty seeing it, even though it's right in front of us. So whatever you're working on in your life right now, this is generally an emotional response. I'm going to say it's still kind of work related. So if you're having issues at work, this is for you. We're talking about that energy where the things are lined up and we're just not allowing it to come into our lives the way it needs to. So we're our own worst enemy with the Nine of Cups when she's inverted. And then the Ace of Pentacles rounds it out that if you do these things, you're going to come out with a brand new thing, a new physical, tangible thing that's going to lead you to the next whatever it is you're doing. The Ace of Pentacles, like all aces to me, are these not only a start or a seedling idea, which most of that's traditional, right? It's a seed, it's an initiation, it's the initial, but it's also the raw version of everything. It can be whittled into everything if the right energy is placed into it. So in this case, we've got our pentacles saying, after you get all this stuff together, you recognize what's right in front of you and you do it, and you're looking at this survey of taking your time, then what you're going to end up with is something that's going to be really positive. You're going to have a great starting something. So all this is up to preparing maybe to, for example, plant the seed, right? You can't plant it just whenever you feel like it, or however deep you feel like, or water it any way you like. You have to know what it likes. You have to know where it grows the best. So all of this is leading up to that moment where we take that seed of something of thought and put it into the ground and grow it the right way, instead of just scattering seeds everywhere and hoping one catches. So this is a read of measure twice, cut once. Be ready to accept what's in front of you, and don't try to dig so hard. Don't be the gold digger. And if you do, you'll come out with what you need to come out with. That's going to take you where you need to go.
Excellent. Well,
Dude, this deck, I read differently with it. I just do. Always have.
yeah,
It does what it wants to do.
But I mean, as always, man, like reiterating the point, like, I mean, your readings always kind of, you know, hit home right where it needs to, you know?
Good.
So, and like I've said many times before, there are only two people that I believe that can do tarot for me accurately. That is my mother and Mystic. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what it is.
Well, if you get you in trouble.
So yeah, definitely good. All right, so we are going to talk about the non-occult thing that's the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Which is Trump's god-awful fucking bandage. No, well, I mean, kind of. That is part of the discussion, but not the focus.
Accurate.
Yeah. So the aspect of this that I want to mention, I want to talk about the part that's bothering me, right? Overall, in general, because so to put it out there, I'm completely at this point in my life kind of like apolitical. You know, I suppose you could say that like I am progressive, but I'm also like conservative in a way. Like it's weird, but not politically conservative. Like not when I know when people think conservative, they think Republican, and that's not what it is, and I don't know how to explain it.
Libertarian is what I am, which is basically socially do whatever the fuck you want, and governmentally you shouldn't have your hands in any of this shit.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much. And so, yeah, so I'm pretty apolitical at the moment. Like, I'm not really leaning towards anyone. But the aspect of things that bother me, there's one single aspect that bothers me about what happened. Was it Saturday that he got shot at? Is that when that happened?
I think so. Yeah.
Is everybody, and I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of the social media posts that I've seen in relation to that have really just kind of focused on the idea of like, oh, they wish that Trump got killed, that Trump this and Trump that. And it's like, I mean, if you like the guy, you don't like the guy, you hate the guy, you hope he dies in his sleep. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, the part that bothers me is that everybody's forgetting the fact that an innocent person died trying to protect his family. He heard the shots go off, went over his family, and he got shot in the back of the head. You know, and yeah, I mean, I think that is the saddest part of this whole thing, is that I think that many people are forgetting the fact and idea here that an innocent person's life ended that day. You know, regardless of who you support politically, like, I mean, I don't judge. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're in the middle. I don't care if you're an anarchist. I don't care. People shouldn't be dying because of politics. Like, I'm sorry, but people should not be killed over their preferred candidate. And this is another thing. Stop focusing on the fucking candidate. Focus on the policies. Like, Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter. Don't focus on the candidate. The candidate doesn't matter. The policies that they're saying that they're going to enforce, that's the part that matters. Right? Choose whoever you will. But stop, because I just see this downward spiral happening where we're turning into like the Roman fucking Empire,
Oh yeah.
right? And
Well, think of how young the U.S. government is compared to all those other governments. That it will fail at some point. Like it's going to.
inevitably,
But what kills me is uh, it doesn't even really matter long term if we follow what was originally intended, which we don't necessarily know every detail of what was originally intended, but if we try to at least focus on what was originally intended and the purpose of it, we recognize that these things are generational in most cases, not all, but many cases, and they're specific to individuals. My dad was a Republican. I know why. So is my sister. Mostly because they didn't think that they were going to have anything in their, 401ks or their savings, because they saw whenever a Democrat was in place that they lost money.
mm-hmm.
It's understandable. That's their livelihood for the rest of their life. They've worked so hard for. I get it. For me and most of the people in my generation were like, hey, we weren't raised right. We were left outside to do your own shit, to do everything to get in trouble. But
Yep.
you get home when that street light turns on.
Yep.
Or you gonna get beat.
Yep.
There was no internet for me when I was a kid. We played outside. Everything was in a book,
Same.
textbooks, book bags. It was different. And so, what was important to me was social, treating people socially and psychologically well, and that was important for most people at that time.
I mean, I was an asshole as a kid, so like it wasn't treating people psychologically. It was fucking with people as much as I humanly possibly could. But I mean, I was a kid.
Yeah. I mean, the point really is, right. It's even though I find it very hard to get along with people who support certain candidates because of who that candidate is to me, not to them. And while I can still disagree with what that stands for, that doesn't mean I have to be a dick about it and go and try to hurt somebody over it. I'm going to make my point without that. And if I can't, then I didn't have a good point.
Yeah, I mean,
politics is fucked. Like,
yeah,
be honest about that.
Politics right now is fucked. Like, I remember a time where you could actually have a political conversation, and it was an interesting conversation. It wasn't. You didn't have to be fearful about expressing your ideas. You listened to the other person, they listened to you, and you found some middle ground. Like that was the whole point, right? It was trying to find some kind of middle ground, to be able to have a reasonable discussion. And the biggest thing that I think is the biggest problem with politics today is the middle ground has been removed. Like, if you're in the middle, everybody hates you.
Yeah.
And
see, I figured that I'm not in the middle even. Like, that's not even the answer anymore. It's if you line everything up, there is no middle. It's you have 10 things and 5 are left and 5 are right. That's not the middle. That's different opinions, different needs, different desires. And that's where we've caused the problem. We haven't allowed for there to be a middle, like you're saying, I think.
Yeah.
What we've allowed for is you have to be psycho. Think about the Kabbalion. I go back to that a lot, right? What is polarity? What is gender? The extremes on both ends are same in nature but different in degree. Same people, same problem. Left, all the way right, same person. Both nuts, psycho, crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all nuts. It's just they're all nuts.
Yeah, I mean, so that for me, I would have to say is kind of like my biggest, the biggest takeaway issue that I have with what happened. I mean, obviously, there's the fact that it happened to begin with, right? But I mean, we can't take that away, right? We can't make that better. We can't, heal that part that it happened. But the part that we do have control over, the part that we can heal, is how we talk about that situation. I mean, I'm a father, and I could just imagine how, if it was that situation and I don't know, something happened to me, just how that family feels, seeing all the comments about, oh well, you know, one Trump supporter down, you know, or you know, stuff like those are disgusting comments. I'm sorry, that's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. You're dehumanizing a person based off of their political beliefs, and that's just absolutely ridiculous. I'm not saying this community. I'm not saying that, but those people that have made those comments, it's disgusting. Imagine that family mourning the death of, you know, their husband, their father, their brother, their son, their grandfather, whomever, and they have to read on the internet people reducing him down to a political belief.
What there are some thoughts on that, and not to go too deep into this because it can go on forever.
Yeah.
I agree overall with that premise, but I do have a hard time with some of it. And okay, so not specific to this exact situation, but I can see where a trans person who is unable to do a specific treatment because of something Trump did be so angry that why is my life not as important as this person? Why is everybody falling all over this person because they put out, and I'm sitting here and I can't be who I am and I can't, you know, do the things I need to do and live my life appropriately. I'm better off dead. Not going into that, but that's one thing that I do kind of see overall for when you talk about disliking somebody for their political value, because that political value is a judgment on my character. There are people in general in the Republican Party that do believe that I should go to hell and I should not exist because of who I choose to love, and I shouldn't be allowed to marry. Not all, but some. And that does make me angry, but it doesn't make me, and this is the key part for everybody, I think, it doesn't make me angry enough to wish harm on somebody, no matter what their political belief is. You're misguided. I do think you're wrong. If you don't support trans rights and you don't support the ability for people to make decisions for their lives and to be a part of, I think you're wrong. And I think that's terrible. And I'll argue anybody on that because to me, social choice and the ability to be yourself is literally the pursuit of happiness, and nobody should be denied that for any reason, ever. Unless, of course, it specifically harms somebody else while they're doing it. But when somebody goes to the line of saying, you deserved it because you were a Republican, or that stuff to me is just literally the exact opposite of what you're supposed to be standing for. Nobody, like, when you get to that level, it's just, you've lost empathy, and that's what's missing. And 90% of the problems we have is because we lack empathy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that the middle ground exists inside a space where we're able to listen to each other without going crazy and being able to listen to both sides. Because maybe there's something one person wants to happen but hasn't seen the full spectrum of the effect of what would happen to other people, you know, if that one thing were to take place on either side, left or right, right? And that conversation is absolutely necessary, you know, to be able to understand both sides, right? And then come to a reasonable solution. Without that conversation, you know, that's just, there's no way to get there.
Yeah. Yep. Because, you know, the argument often is, I think we're at a moment where Republicans and conservatives are not the same thing.
Yeah, no, I don't think they are. I don't think they are. I would definitely, I fully support that statement.
Because when it comes to government, and this is not a popular opinion, I don't believe in gay marriage. Because I don't believe in marriage at all through the government. The government should say, hey, here's tax relief for being with somebody that creates a family unit. Doesn't matter. They have no business in the rest of it. Church says, here, you get married, you do what you want. And if a Baptist church doesn't want to marry me, then they shouldn't have to. Which they won't, and they can. But I'm just saying that whole thing is just stupid. Everybody should get a civil union. Not just everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Let your church figure the rest out. All this business of getting their hands so far into all this stuff, like, I'm truly a governmental conservative. Socially liberal, but
yeah, I mean, fiscally conservative, socially liberal. Like, I mean, I completely agree with it. I mean, the government shouldn't have their hands as deep as they do in everybody's bullshit. you know, and
Yep.
it's just a little ridiculous. I mean, it's one of the reasons, like, having the government dive into our shit is one of the reasons why we have so many issues being occultists, you know, which is why, like, you know, there's so many people that make political stances against us, you know, because we're occultists. And make no mistake about it, Starbucks not hiring somebody or firing somebody because they're pagan or they're an occultist is a political statement.
Yep.
You know, and so by allowing the government to have its fingers in so fucking deep, you know, this is where we're kind of running into these issues. You know, I remember seeing this TikTok. She became kind of like a meme. She had these, like, she's full of like fucking demonic tattoos and shit, and said that, you know, she wasn't given a job because, you know, because of the tattoos that she has and shit like that, because they think that, you know, customers are going to be, you know, might find it disconcerting. And for me, the problem, after watching the video, the problem wasn't the tattoos, it was the person. Like, I mean, she was a horrible person just by the way she talked about things.
Yeah.
But I don't think that somebody should be denied a position at, you know, any job because they have tattoos, right? I mean, that's a cultural thing, right? If you don't want somebody, you know, with tattoos on the floor dealing with customers, put them in the back dealing with stock, you know. Have them dress a certain way to cover it up, but this flat out deny somebody, you know, a job because of, you know, tattoos. I don't agree with it. I can see where they're coming from denying it. I can understand that, but I still don't agree with it. You know?
I think that's an interesting point too, because it's almost opposite of what we're saying in some respects. From a judicial perspective, there should be laws in the books that prevent companies, if they're getting breaks in taxes. That's the key to me.
Yeah.
To do that thing. If the bakery doesn't want to bake me a gay cake, fine, don't bake me a gay cake, but you don't get any tax relief.
Yeah,
because now you're getting paid by the public. You no longer go private. If you're a private company, I don't give a fuck what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you want, because you're going to eventually want my business, because we pay pretty well for our cakes and shit. I'm just saying, you know, like, I do. Yeah, I did on purpose. I do think that there is some basis for those things, you know, to be. People have shitty beliefs. And I think that's a shitty belief to do that. But I also think you should be able to believe that. Because if you're able to believe that, then I can believe what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there's a fundamental difference in that, though. When my belief is open to allowing people to exist and yours isn't, I mean, you can say morally, ethically, whatever. I think that's wrong. Like, I don't want to say my opinion is better here, but I think it is. Obviously. Right? Because I'm not basing my judgment on God or Jesus or Christianity. I'm basing it on, hi, you're a human. I'm a human. Great to meet you. Don't kill me. Don't fuck with me. We're good. Love you. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, look, so I am one of those people that I do believe that capitalism is probably one of the best economic systems that have been set up globally compared to many other economic systems. I'm sorry, but when it comes to socialism and communism, it's been tried many times and it has failed many times. It's not the answer. People die when socialism and communism takes over. I think capitalism, now here's the thing, I want to understand something. Capitalism in its pure form is a consumer-based market. A company produces a product, it's a good product, the company makes a shit ton of money. Company makes a bad product, people don't buy it, they lose money, they lose enough money, they shut down. Where's the problem come in? When that company's to the point where they're going to shut down because they've made a bunch of bad products and bad decisions, the government comes in and says, hey, here's a shit ton of money so you can keep making bad fucking products.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That shouldn't happen. The government should not have its hands in that dynamic. Capitalism at its base is not a business market, it is a consumer market.
Yeah, I think the only thing that sticks out, and this isn't specifically a part of capitalism, it's actually a little anti-capitalist, but the idea, though, that, again, if an organization that's paying taxes and is licensed to do business, and they get relief or breaks or whatever for the way that they have their business set up, there has to be rules in place that no, you can't fire somebody for being pagan or different than you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, like, equal opportunity stuff. A lot of people see that as socialist. I think those things are necessary from a judicial perspective.
Yeah, I agree.
But for both sides, I can't fire you because you're wearing a cross. Like, it works both ways.
Yeah. I mean, well, equal opportunity, I think makes sense. Equal opportunity for me, my understanding of equal opportunity is because way back when, with alternative people, like of whatever type of alternative you want to talk about, right? Like paganism, fashion, music taste, whatever. If the hiring manager didn't like you because, I don't know, you had a limp eye, they weren't going to hire you because you had a limp eye, and they would tell you to your face, yeah, I don't like your limp eye, so I'm not going to give you the job. Equal opportunity, the only thing that really did was push those discriminations underground, right?
Yeah.
Like they can deny, they can deny you for any fucking reason that's legal. You know, so it's just equal opportunity needs to exist because it still exists inside of a meritocracy, right? And I believe in meritocracy. If you're the best person for the job, I don't give a shit if you're trans. I don't give a shit if you're gay. I don't give a shit if you're a lesbian. I don't give a shit if you're straight. I don't give a shit if you're a woman, if you're a man. If you are,
I don't know about lesbians.
If you're the best person for the job, you get the job. That's a meritocracy. You are able to work and live off of your merit, right? What you've obtained, what you're able to do, right? Mystic is where he is because of a meritocracy. Mystic has the position that he has, not disclosing anything, because he's the best person for the job, because he's had the most time and experience doing what he's doing in the company that he's in. So there is it's an obvious choice to go with Mystic, right? And there's nothing that feels better than knowing, like, hey, I busted my ass, I worked, I understand this stuff, I learned it, and now it's paying off.
I still recognize, and I lose a lot of people in this comment too. I've actually been threatened for saying just the phrase white privilege, because that's a whole other topic. But I do recognize that there are things that have occurred in my life that allowed me to get where I am that are not of my doing, and they are of the way the system is actually set up. Not that I got the job because of it, but that I was able to go to school where I wanted to. I was able to live in 3 acres of land with a 2-story brand new house that other people couldn't afford. You know what I mean? So there are things that set that up, and it kind of goes along with what Dragon Dancer said. I do agree that socialism, it really is not a bad thing. It's not this evil, terrible thing. She says in conjunction with capitalism, yes, but to me, socialism on a smaller scale, like
social programs,
as a group, well, not even social programs, but as a group entity of supporting your neighbor and working through the process that way. Like, our neighbor, sometimes when our grass gets too high, he just literally comes over and cuts it. He's like, it's just too high, I'm cutting it for you. And, you know, we're like, we'll come over and hang out in our pool. You don't have a pool. You know what I mean? I know that's not socialism. Don't shoot me down the river. I'm just saying that's the idea behind it, right? And
no, I agree. Socialism,
yes, and social programs.
Certain aspects of socialism in conjunction with capitalism has benefits. Actually, Curse, like I that seems to be like a big American thing. Like, free healthcare would be nice. But anyone that I've talked to that lives in a country, like one-on-one, that has free healthcare, the only thing they can talk about is how shit the healthcare is because it's free, and how long it takes to actually get in front of a doctor. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, there's got to be a middle ground, like a reduced cost healthcare, like, or something. But like, I don't think free is the way to go. I mean, if you look at the salaries of a surgeon and a doctor, it's a little hard to go free.
Yeah, I will tell you, in healthcare, the margins of income are very different. In those areas where they have, and it's not, obviously it's not free healthcare, it's free to you at the moment of service healthcare, because you're still paying it for your taxes. I mean, like, if you look at Canada, tax rates are significantly higher. I don't know that they have free healthcare, but they have a healthcare system that's probably a little more attainable from a financial perspective. If that means waiting a couple extra weeks or months, that might be appropriate because that's the trade-off you give. But also, physicians, nurses, on average, make a significant less amount of money.
Yep.
In those countries. Now, I have heard, like Dragon Dancer, I have actually heard the opposite, where I've heard both, but I've heard the opposite, where, yeah, I waited 3 months to get into a colonoscopy. Well, guess what? Mine took 3 months to get in down here in the U.S. And you know how much that cost? It was like $18,000.
Don't mistake it. I'm not defending America's healthcare system. I'm just saying that, like,
oh no, it's not
anecdotally,
good.
like what I've heard from people,
yeah,
you know, with free healthcare. Like I can tell you, okay, in Mexico, for example, right? Free healthcare in Mexico. There is free healthcare in Mexico, and it's absolutely atrocious. There like have been literally people that have died in a waiting room, waiting to see a doctor. Like, and we're talking an emergency room, like an emergency waiting room. They've died in the emergency room because it took too long to see a doctor. Now, again, this is anecdotal, right? Like, I mean, it's a per person basis. I don't know the details, like, of each system, how it works, all that stuff. Like, I think the pharmaceutical industry in the United States is absolutely disgusting. Like, I think the pharmaceutical industry in Mexico is so much better, which is why a lot of Americans go to Mexico for certain prescription medications, because it's just so much fucking cheaper and you don't need a prescription.
I don't know how I feel about that. I'm very back and forth on pharmacy. I actually saw what it cost to create Leqembi, which is the first approved drug, might be the second, for Alzheimer's. It actually has been proven to slow Alzheimer's progression.
Nice.
And it is $10,000 a dose for a monthly dose. But the amount of people they quantified, it was $1.2 billion in research they had to put up to develop this drug. They can't make that money back if they don't charge outrageous numbers. So there has to be a balance somewhere in there and how they do it, or people will stop researching it. It will stop directing it. It will stop happening. That it's at a way inflated pace in the U.S. Like it's way overdone. Like, for example, it doesn't have to be 10,000. And what's really funny is a lot of them, those really expensive meds, oh, well, just apply for a waiver and then you can get it for free. Very true. How about just not making it $10,000? If you can give away 10 free doses, take the other 10 doses, cut them in half.
Yep.
Right? Like, I don't understand why it's a marketing thing. It's all marketing.
It is. No, I think that, like, I mean, that's the part that I find absolutely disgusting. So here's the thing. So without having all the information, this is important to understand because I don't. I feel that if there's something out there that's going to save someone's life, don't charge for it. Like, so for example, diabetes medication. If a diabetic doesn't have insulin, they can fucking die. Like that, it's just flat out, they can fucking die if they don't have insulin. Regardless of how well they take care of themselves, how they eat, stuff like that, you know, shit happens. If they don't have insulin, they can die. Don't charge for insulin. Like, that's just an example, right? Like, insulin is like one of those things that is so ridiculously inflated in price that it's just ridiculous.
See, if it's free, if it's not charged for, who's going to pay for the glass to put it together and the liquid that it goes in and the development? Somebody has to.
Well, what do you think? What happens in wartime, World War II? Like, they took businesses that were making one product and forced them to make another product without being paid for it, specifically for the war effort. You know, if the government,
well, because if supposedly if a war fails, there is nothing to come back to. That's the purpose of that, right? Of hijacking those industries. But when it comes to, somebody has to develop drugs. Somebody has to develop and create these things.
Can I just say really quick that I never thought in a million years that Mystic would be combating me on this point? But okay, let's go.
So, well, the thing is to me, there's not a good answer. It's not a free answer. It's not an extensive answer. But for me, it should be the cost of what it takes to make them. Those are those things, like you said. saving lives, EpiPens, insulin, Narcan. Those things should be for the cost of what they are to create. Yeah,
Production cost.
production. So, and if that were like, I got 3 new meds today. I got put on a Medrol pack. I got put on Z-Pack antibiotics, which is pretty strong, and I got put on a statin because I'm high risk for heart disease. Do you know how much all of it costs with insurance?
No idea.
77 cents.
Damn.
Do you know how much it costs without insurance? Like $380. Somebody on a month-to-month check can't afford that.
Yep.
But I can, and I don't have, and I have insurance, but I could afford the full price. There's got to be a better way to even that out for people who can't get insurance or afford it. That's the thing that it's the insurance to me. I think that's really screwed everything up.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of the biggest problems with these discussions is exactly what we're running into right now. It's very easy to pinpoint the problem. It's significantly more difficult to pinpoint a solution.
Yeah.
And we all know what the problems are. What we need are solutions. And unfortunately, if the government was at least a little bit more transparent with how shit worked, if these companies, these medical companies, these pharmaceutical companies were a bit more transparent with the way that things are done, I think we could come up with a solution by looking at all the data. But because they're not as transparent as I think that they should be, it really makes it very difficult to find a reasonable solution across the board. Because everybody's trying to make a dime and they don't want to be super transparent, because by being super transparent, they know they're going to lose money in that transparency. Yeah,
to me, it's the insurance companies that are what's fucking up, because they're all they're doing is moving dollars. There's not even real money. I pay a $10 copay for my visit today. They're probably going to bill $1,000. You know?
Mm-hmm.
How about you bill what it's worth?
Yeah.
My insurance will pay what it's worth. And maybe our insurance would go down, or maybe it wouldn't, but then we have a bank to support people for low insurance premiums. I don't know. There's probably 1,000 different ways to cut it, but I would go free for life-saving medicines before I would go what they charge.
Mm-hmm.
I do get into the fear I have is just looking at the research, because obviously I'm a nurse, and in healthcare we interact with pharmacy a lot, pharmacists, pharmacy companies. They have representatives that come in and talk to us. There's a med called Nudexa that is really good for this condition called pseudobulbar affect, which happens a lot in our elderly patients with dementia, and it's $5,000 a month. But all you have to do is fill out a piece.
For me, that's just ridiculous.
But if you know what you're doing, you have to fill out a piece of paper. You send that paper in, and it becomes $200 a month. Then I know you can sell it for $200 a month.
And then why are you coming at me with $5,000?
Well, come at $200 a month, or come at $500. That's a lot, but for a medication that treats this disorder, it is insanely helpful. It's basically dextromethorphan and another medication put together, which is really weird. I can explain it, but that's not tonight's topic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's no answer to it, and from a political perspective, from a economic, from a psychosocial aspect, all of this stuff fits into politics.
Unfortunately, it does. Like, it's all political posturing. It's all political posturing. Like, and guys, like, I know, like, we call it an occult podcast, and tonight's not a lot about the occult, but I mean, the occult's the way we live, right? Let's
make it a really good occult connection. If you haven't noticed, or if I haven't shared this before, I think I did. I have an abscess. I have a skin disorder, and it is pretty gnarly.
So don't give Mystic hugs. It's leprosy.
You can give me hugs. I don't have leprosy. Never mind. Very inappropriate joke. I'm not going to share. What was I saying? Oh, skin disease disorder. So I ended up with an abscess that I had for about a year. Couldn't get it to go away. Couldn't do nothing. I did a single healing ritual, like really did it, like really meditated, focused, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. And I was almost in tears afterwards, because within a week it was gone.
Nice.
So there is obviously a huge part of us and our ability to heal ourselves. I think medications are really critical to help get your body to a state where it can be comfortable enough for you to start helping to heal yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But medications are not supposed to be forever. They are supposed to treat your symptoms until you can get them under control.
Agreed.
That's how it's always been.
Well, I mean, and I'm also not. So I'm not an anti-vaxxer, right? I have all of my vaccinations up until I was about I think the last vaccination I got was the coronavirus one.
I've had like 5 of those.
I've only had 2.
I was one of the first ones in the
I
United
was
States.
gonna get the fucking boosters, man. I thought that was bullshit. I got the first round, which is like the primary one was 2 different shots.
Yeah.
And then I just said, you know what? I got it. If I get coronavirus, fine. I'm confident my body's going to be able to deal with it. And if it can't, well, then it was meant for me to die. You know, like whatever.
Yeah. Well, most people are going to be fine with it. It's just going to make you really sick, which you can make a decision with.
Yeah. Well,
Slim
Lewis, thank you for the 666. Also, I didn't miss it. I got to scroll way the fuck up here. Sad World, thank you for the 666 and for becoming a demon. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, so I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I also believe, like, as an occultist, like, the people that were considered, you know, mystics and witches back in the day were the herbalists. Like, those were like the first base people that were considered, you know, witches, because back then, you know, it was like if God wanted you alive, you'd survive. You know, like these mystics, you know, understood that, hey, there's these plants that are here that have these properties to them, and they do some really cool shit. You know, when you're congested or when you've got a fucking headache, or, you know, if I rub it in your fucking wound, you know, you won't feel it anymore. You know, as an anesthetic. You know. So those were like kind of like, you know, the original fucking, you know, witches and mystics. And so I believe that, you know, if we use for certain things natural methods, you know, we could probably bypass a lot of the medications that we take just by using natural herbal remedies. Does that mean that I don't believe that medication doesn't have its place? No, I definitely do. I am not advocating using an herbal remedy for cancer, for example, right? Like if you have cancer, like, I mean, I've seen back and forth on it, like as far as research is concerned, you know, with certain things. So like if you got, but like in my opinion, it's kind of like, you know, go with the chemo, go like do what you got to do. You know, for psychological disorders, you know, SSRIs, you know, have definitely proven their, you know, their strength in the space. You know, look at both options. I'm not saying discount either of them. I'm saying look at both options.
I think of it like the way that I look at it, because obviously nursing, we're really like, I'm actually looking at getting a holistic nurse coach license, which is kind of neat. But the idea really is, a lot of the issues that we have are because of the way that the world is right now. If we were still in a natural environment the way we should be, we probably would not end up with a lot of the ailments that we actually get.
I agree with you.
So sometimes the Western ailment needs a Western cure or a treatment until you can get back to that close enough stasis unit where you can then use homeopathic meds as a conjunction with, like, I get all the time. I have nurses that literally call me, you must be the dumbest person on the block. You must be stupid. You believe in essential oils. I'm like, I don't believe in an oil. Like, that's not a thing. Like, oh, oil of lavender, I bless you and love me, you know? We're not doing that.
Right.
What I believe is, if I'm in pain and I can't sleep, lavender will help you go to sleep. It will reduce your pain, because guess what? When you're asleep, you don't feel the pain. You know, citrus wakes me up. It makes me feel more clear. That is scientifically shown.
Well, I mean, that's where the whole concept of fucking orange juice in the morning for breakfast comes from.
Yeah. It's like, it's so funny. Like, nobody's saying, you know, eat ashwagandha every day to, you know, beat cancer. What we're saying is, if you're, to me anyway, if you're paying attention to what's going on in your life and connected with nature and your spirituality and the world around you, you'll probably be healthier than you could be otherwise if you're paying attention to the natural remedies of things. Like the remedy that I have that fixes my issue is literally salt and coal tar.
Coal tar.
Coal tar. Literally, that's the treatment. And everybody's like, that there's all of these treatments that you can have for my skin condition. None of them work. But salt soak and coal tar.
The only thing I've ever used coal for is I remember when I was like, I think I was like 18 or 19, I was at a house party, and some dipshit thought it would have been a good idea to drink like 2 entire bottles of NyQuil.
No.
And so, like, they had a barbecue out in the back, so I grabbed some of the coal, and I just scraped it into a glass of water, and I gave it to him, and dude just, like, fucking full-on exorcist. Like...
That's terrible.
I was like, why the fuck would you drink 2 fucking bottles of NyQuil, man? Like, seriously? This isn't the 13th step of AA, come on.
Right? I don't know, it's it's interesting though that I've done these treatments before, and the treatment that I did where I was listening to a specific frequency, binaural beat, in a very specific way, doing a specific ritual, the visualization, the whole 9 yards, and after a year, it finally healed. Like that's to me, that's anecdotal, but it's still evidence.
No, I mean the thing is, so for example, like Kerr says, so for my personal experience, tarot and meditation had helped with my anxiety tremendously. So here's the thing. What a lot of people think it's like folklore, but your emotional state.
I don't want to cut you off. I can still hear you, but I got to run to the restroom real quick.
Okay, not a problem. Your emotional state is going to eventually affect you physically. If you're constantly like anxious, if you're constantly worried, if you're constantly stressed, those things are going to affect you. Like whether you want them to or not, and then they're going to translate physically. So when you partake in something, especially like meditation, you're allowing yourself to ground and center, right? And essentially kind of allowing all that stress and that anxiety to just kind of wash away from you. Is it going to take care of everything? Probably not. Is it still going to assist and reduce it? Yes, 100%. So I believe when it comes to like the occult, especially the occult, like the peace that we get when we're in ritual, when we do spell work, when we're reading a book, there is a lot that occultists do day to day that is recommended by medical professionals to reduce stress, like reading, like meditation, like centering, exactly. So, there's a lot of things that we do in our day-to-day practice that assist us, to live a more centered life, right? So it's going back to all we want as human beings is peace. We want to find our peace. Right? We don't want to wake up in the morning and feel stressed because of bills, because of money, because of this, because of that. We want to casually wake up in the morning relaxed and allow ourselves to get ready for the day. Your peace is the most important thing that you will ever obtain in your life. And if anyone ever threatens your peace, that's someone that needs to be removed from your life. Your peace is the single most important thing that is going to allow you the longevity of living to being 100 years old. I don't know if I would want to live to be 100 years old, but I mean,
I would.
Some people do.
I want to be so crotchety, because I'm overly nice in most of the days except to Brad.
Look, I want to be 100 years old, but look like Danny Elfman.
Okay, I can do that. All right, 100 years old, it would still have my fat. If my memory and my cognition goes, then I'm done.
Yeah.
When that's gone, I'm gone.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but like I saw a picture of Danny Elfman the other day from like 2 years ago of him doing like a live concert. Motherfucker's like 62 years old or 72 years old. 72. I think he's 72. He looks like he's 40. Like 35, 40. For a 70-year-old.
Have you seen Missy Elliott lately?
I have not.
She's from actually one of the cities in the area I grew up in. She's literally aging backwards, I think. I don't know what's happening.
She was good, though. I liked her music.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. She was cool before. She's from Portsmouth, which is where I grew up. But I don't think she ever left. It's just she got really niche.
Yeah, probably. I mean, she was always like, but she was always cool, like with the weird fucking music videos and shit. Like,
hey.
she went super fucking. Mystic is like waving at everybody, like literally fucking everybody. A dog walks by and Mystic's like, "Hey."
No, they saw me put the napkin on my ear earlier. It's so funny.
You should have opened the show like that.
I thought about it.
So, and let me say this as well, because I bitched about the people that were saying that they're glad that the Trump supporter died and all that stuff. To the right wingers, yeah. I didn't know this was a thing until Mystic said it to me. Holy shit, Scarlet, in with the 50. Yes, we're doing much better now that you're here. For the right wingers that are wearing napkins on their fucking ear as like a symbol of solidarity to Trump, just fucking stop,
please.
It's a fucking bandage. All right, stop making things a symbol that don't need to be a symbol, please. Okay. Now, if you got shot in the ear, put a bandage on it. If you didn't, stop covering up your fucking your hearing canal. Your hearing canal. Your ear canal.
I was just gonna go with it. Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, wear a ribbon. Get a tattoo. I don't know. Put a band on. Wearing a tampon on your ear. I mean a maxi pad on your ear.
Scarlett, can we get you on next week?
Scarlett,
are you free next week or the week after?
I have news for Scarlett too. I am trying really hard to finish a PhD in theological studies, but after that, I am planning on going and get my PMH and P. I've been inspired.
I think PST is because like Mexico doesn't change their time zone anymore.
3 hours back. So right now it should be 6:10 there.
It's about 6:10.
It'd be 5.
5.
It'd be 5.
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
Yes, Rook, I know it's a sanitary pad.
It's 6:10 right now. Yeah, so it'd be 5. Yeah, it'd be 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock your time. I mean, if you need like an hour later, if that's easier for you, then I have no problem like pushing it forward. Yeah, I have no problem pushing it forward like an hour. I'm sure Mystic wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, next week is a good week.
If it means having Scarlett on, like.
Yeah. Well, you know how I feel about that. So, like, if it's midnight, I'll stay up. But I am in conference with Rook this week from Sunday to Wednesday. We get back Thursday, so Friday should be a perfectly easy day for me, assuming
awesome.
I'm healed up.
5 o'clock next week, then. She says she can do it. It's been a minute since we had Scarlett on, so
it has. We've done a lot of mental health improvement on this side of the screen. Very awesome. Focused and intentful mental health improvement for ourselves, and very excited about that. And interestingly, I've been hearing from a lot of different people things about polyvagal theory. Even Rook, when his therapy that he was doing, it came up in a situation. So I'm obsessive with it now.
Well, I mean, I think like having kind of like a mental health episode focused around the occult would be, good to have. It's been a minute since we've had one.
Dude, we did a crystal grid, which I know people think is hokey. Um, Even if you do think it's hokey, they're still pretty. They're really pretty. We have a gorgeous one. I'll share a picture. And we did one at our UU with our group that we don't really engage anymore, but we kind of are outsiders too, but we still go. We started going back anyway because um, we just needed some social. And we did a big grid there, and it was fantastic. I mean, it just using things of the earth to kind of organize yourself, whether it has any true impact or not, the mindset of it and the thinking through it, phenomenal. And then when I go out and travel, I set up my own little one, and there's a connection that goes through it that really is healing. And it's probably psychosocial, or not psychosocial, but psychoactive. That's not the right word either. It's in there. I got to go to school still for it. But there's something about it, about those things from the spiritual and elemental paths that puts your brain in the right order. Like when you think about using quartz, right, to amplify things and to organize things and help you organize, is it going to help you organize your day? No, it's not. But thinking about how the earth has created this thing out of dirt and sand and elements, that when you put electricity on it, it ticks every second or at different frequencies, that means something. You know? And it sets your mind in a pace that kind of manages what it is you're working on. So, psychosomatic, insane. Sorry.
Fucking Cypress Hill.
Oh, that
dude,
song
I love
has been
Cypress
playing.
Hill. I love me
That
some
song has
Cypress
been
Hill.
playing in my head.
Rent free.
I made rent free. That's funny.
So, all right, guys. So I think that kind of covers everything. So quickly, while it's in my head, because ADHD is a motherfucker. So, Witch Skills soft launch next month. We're gonna have the Demonology course set and done, Satanism course, and Mystics Tarot course. I'm sorry. The long courses aren't courses; they're programs. Okay, we need to we need to agree on the same language here, right? So the Demonology program and the Satanism program will be open for a brief time for people to try out and give feedback on, either at a reduced price or for free. If we reach out to you, we will reach out to you. If you're interested in trying the course for free, send us either myself or Mystic or Black Witch Dyra a message in Discord or an email requesting an opportunity to test it out, and we will look at your information and we will reach back out to you if we think that it's a fit. Okay. Also, I think Mystic's Tarot course is going to be also finished by then.
Yeah, it's I've got the courses done now. I just have to record them.
Okay. So again, we're only talking about 2 weeks access. That's it. Okay. So it's not going to be the full program or the full course. You're looking at 2 weeks of access to the material to provide your feedback. Okay. So that's a soft launch next month. Okay.
And I think you explained a bit about that on the last one that I wasn't on. I wanted to point out in a little bit more, not detail, but explanation of the way that the programs work and that you have them set up. It's almost like they are multiple courses within them each semester. Like the topics that you cover are much more deep than just demonology. Like if you go to another occult school, you might take demonology 1, 2, and 3. Those are classes individually. This is a much more comprehensive, I think, process. It's just
I would agree. Yes.
Yeah. So I've seen the outlines for the other ones, and they're pretty intense in the details. So
yeah, the divination course, I need your help with that one, because I think that's too. I can only break it down to 2 years. The 2-year program.
Well, you might want to, and we can talk about this tomorrow, but you might want to do instead of divination, splitting that one up and doing like organized divination.
Okay.
Or cartomancy, and then rune work, because rune work, I'm not an expert in. I'm just not. There would have to be somebody else involved in that.
Same.
But I could set it up. I can get it organized based on what I do know, But it wouldn't be fair to have a class with that without somebody else that knows what they're
Right. Yeah.
doing on
Without
that
somebody
one.
that actually knows what the hell they're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
The book's done, man. The book is done. I just need an editor to look at it. That's it.
Yes, you do.
Shush. All right, so it's done. It's finished. I just need an editor to look at it. So if anybody knows an editor for hire, please let me know.
I wish I had time because I can edit.
I'm actively looking for one. So yeah. So the book is done. The Oracle deck is done. It's all done. It's finished. Like I just want everything in conjunction. So I just need an editor to look at.
Y'all leaving? Have a good night.
Chance for a little sneak peek, if you pay for it.
So you mind if you show me yours? Is that what we're doing now?
Yeah, pretty much.
We might as well get an OnlyFans for showing off occult content.
Right. So there's that.
Oh shit!
Did you say something as you were coughing?
Oh shit!
Oh, okay. Shit. So there's that. Do you do your show tomorrow, right? It's this because
yeah.
Okay.
Well, no,
or not tomorrow.
we do our show on, yeah. We actually can't because we are doing we're driving to a conference. So we have a work conference we have to go to. It's 5 days, so we have to leave tomorrow or Sunday.
Okay.
We won't be able to do our show.
Okay, so
We'll
Sunday, Satan and Coffee, still a thing. 11 a.m. my time, which I don't know what the fuck my time zone is. Like my current time zone is aligned with Mountain Standard Time. Like I'm in the same time zone as Mountain Standard Time for some reason.
Check Arizona and see what time it is there because I think there's one part of Arizona that doesn't follow the daylight savings.
Okay.
They never change, and they're always so they're off 1 hour and then 2 hours, or 2 hours and then 3 hours, then 2 hours.
I'm just trying to find something that coincides with something people can oh, okay, I get that, right? You know, so yeah, right now I'm in the same as Mountain Standard Time, so I guess you could say that it's 11 a.m. Mountain Standard is when Satan and Coffee is going to be on Sunday. Also, here's another big announcement. So, despite my better judgment, I have decided to take my website, my domain name, adiasdade.com, and I am now offering ritual and consultation services on my website, as well as divination services on my website. I mean, not right now. It's not live right now, but you can sign up to a mailing address to be informed once it goes live. I don't know how it's going to go over. I've never done it before. Seems to be something that people are interested in because all of the messages I get on fucking Facebook are asking me just that. So, yeah. So, adiasdade.com. At the end of the month, the site's going to launch, and I'm offering divination services, spiritual consultation services, and ritual services. So, well, it looks like Mystic is disappointed.
No. I was just thinking I need to figure out how to do that for my stuff.
So, those, I would do the same if I was getting messages. So there's that. So witchskills.com, if you guys are interested in looking at that. Like I said, if you're interested in the soft launch, you have to specifically either DM or email myself, Mystic, or Black Witch Dyra, okay, to be a part of that. Also, for those that don't know, there is an herbal magic studies course that is going to be completely done by Dragon Dancer. I'm
excited for that.
So yeah. So there's that. I'm excited to see what she's coming up with for that. And did I miss anything? Oh, and Threads for the Dead. If you want to support the show, you want to support, and get something back, for what you're supporting with. Buy a T-shirt, buy a hoodie, you know, stuff like that.
We need to figure out how to. I want to talk to you about that, about getting some other things up there, like two-pondering pagan stuff too. I need to know what tarot deck Maeve got. Ooh, that's a good one. Sorry. Shiny squirrel.
I was looking at that one. I remember, like, when we were live, I was looking at that. Did you get that idea from me, Maeve? Because that was an expensive fucking deck. That's a rare deck. It's a hard deck to find.
Yeah. It's a good one. Oh, my ear itches. But yeah, no, I think that's everything. I just, yeah.
All right. Rock on. So everybody, that is going to be it. Thank you very much for being here. Love your fucking faces. You are the reason we do this every single week. Okay? And as always, hail thy fucking self. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.
Deuces.